Okay, loves, we are on Advent Gift 20, 21, and 22. And I almost wanted to say 23 and 24, but we're just pause. But what I'm about to give you, I'm going to need you to go get a pen and paper. So I'll wait. Have your pen and paper. So naturally, the way that I work, this is definitely going to be a part series unless I can get this all done in one video, but bear with me. Okay, so we just went through the entire 8 limbs, and now what I'm going to have you do is create a written statement. Now, the things I'm about to teach you in these last 3 gifts, and they're not the very last ones, but this is the most monumental part of this entire Advent giving season that I started. And I realize I want to carry this onto YouTube, almost like virtual coaching. That would be totally free, along with my yoga and meditations that I'm just going to be posting for my archives, because I have so much of those, and there's such heart in those that I'm so excited to share. I really, honestly, for more than a million reasons, I need to get those videos off of the said dinosaur computer if you followed any of my other videos. So before I even post new yoga videos, so the only new content that I'd be putting on YouTube, same title, Moon Mama Medicine, is going to be in the essence of this coaching. So what I'm about to give you, I am then going to guide and expand on YouTube. And bear with me because I'm kind of new to YouTube. Really started because of these archived videos, and I sold my yoga studio. And I was like, where am I going to put them? So, and it's also been a goal since before I became a yoga instructor. Okay, here we go. You have your pen and paper. I want you to write at the top my written statement. Now, this written statement I found this year in 2024 when I was listening to the book Think, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Not only does this work, it's worked for many, many people, millions of people, I'd say, the people that have read the book religiously and then actually committed to the steps, because when you read that book step by step, you get the framework on how to make your first $1 million. And it honestly is a book that was far beyond its time. And I have to be honest, the thing that hung me up the most, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get past it, was the written statement. And so what I'm going to have you do right now, write on your paper my written statement. Now I'm going to go through a written statement for you, mine. I'm going to go through the framework of it, what you need to have, and then I'm going to go through, and you'll have to pause at certain points. I'm going to go through my written statement. And now the coolest thing through all of this is that the reason why I'm having you write all of this down, you're going to look at the screen, you're going to write each step down. And then I'm going to have you go onto ChatGPT. It's totally free. And you're going to plug in. And now the coolest part, so you're going to plug in your written statement, and maybe I'll just show you what that is. But before I get to it, the written statement is essentially the affirmation that you say every single morning and every single night. This is something that I was trying to teach last year, but I could not put it into words. And I started the process, and honestly, I kind of got swept away in the alignments that came. We moved into this big, beautiful house with incredible views, and I've just kind of been, and then I started listening to Think, Grow Rich, and then I started working for the Waldorf School, and then it's just my life just kind of snowballed in the most beautiful way. And what was interesting is when I wrote that written statement, my first one, after listening to Think, Grow Rich, I sat with it and I was like, I love this, but I was like, I need more visuals. I need the positive emotional charge. Now, this stuff that I'm about to teach you, the reason why it was so mind-blowing to me was that, one, I tried to teach this before I even really knew what I was doing. And then as I was still doing my practice and I wanted to share it on TikTok, but again, I couldn't quite put it to words and I couldn't quite teach it. So I took a pause on it, but then, like I said, we moved. And then fast forward, and then I started listening to Think, Grow Rich, and I was listening to it religiously, and I would go to sleep with it playing. I'd wake up and listen to it. In fact, just that in of itself is such a gift. And I think if you can, get the Audible book or audio book, Think Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and listen to it. But what I'm teaching you right now is the written statement aspect of it. And again, it is the affirmation for you to achieve your goals. Now in this book, what he's talking about is like becoming rich, and he even defines like rich is like beyond $1 million. And he wrote this in 1932, I think, or 7. Anyways, way beyond his time. And then he talks about all of this, like the same kind of stuff that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. Like, he's like, have the vision, the thing that you want, and sit every day and envision it as if you already have it. And then when you envision it, have an emotional charge linked up with it. So like you feel really excited, really blissful, just like overflowed, like flushed with gratitude. And then he says, do it every day. Like wake up, hold your vision, see it in your head, have the emotional charge, go about your day. Now, some of the most successful people I've ever listened to, known, podcast, this, that, and the other, they all do this thing. Like this thing it's not just proven by me, but now we're going to do this together and we're going to become rich and are beyond our wildest dreams and live in the life that we are choosing. So this is the Advent Gift 20, Advent Gift 21, and Advent Gift 22. Okay, so you have your piece of paper, you wrote down at the top of it, my written statement. Okay, here we have the written statement. So I just went on ChatGPT and was like, create the framework for a written statement from Think Grow Rich. Now that's what's so cool about AI. And it gave me exactly, so I want you to pause this and write all these down. What is your definitive goal? What do you want to achieve this year in 2025? Clearly state the exact goal, including measurable outcomes, income, sales, funds raised, etc. What will you give in return? This is huge. This is why this written statement just like blew my mind. Define a plan of action, outline specific strategies or steps that you will take to achieve your goal, set a deadline, include a clear, specific time frame for achieving your goal. When I was listening to this in the book, he actually gave like a 5-year thing, and when I did my first written statement, it was a ton of money in a very short amount of time, which is like, it's not that it's not believable, but even like Joe Dispenza and other manifestors of the like will tell you that you want it to be something that you can visualize, right? And then you're going to create a statement of faith, which is affirm your belief in your ability to achieve the goal, committing to consistent trust in the process, essentially. Okay, so let's start here. But I'm going to show you my written statement for 2025. And it's interesting because doing this framework really kind of played with my mind. Like I played really small and I could imagine it. I was like, well, what if I just make all that? And it's just like, well, then what? Of course you would just do this process again. But then I realized I'm like, okay, if I can fathom this, I can make it happen. Now the next part, which is so fascinating. Now you can have ChatGPT, you can even just take this, right, the framework right up there for a written statement from Think Grow Rich. It'll pop this exact thing out. And then you plug in your answers to ChatGPT and then say, now create my written statement. And it will. You can copy and paste that, put it on a document, print it out. I would handwrite it, truly. I'd handwrite it. And then I would read it every day so much to where it becomes second nature or just like you are memorized it. Okay, there's one more part to this. Last part is you're going to read it daily, aloud every morning and every night. Aloud makes it different. Read it out loud and memorize it. And then visualize it when you're reading it or saying it in your head. Visualize it and feel it. Now the next part to this is that I had AI generate a few images for me because sometimes I have a hard time visualizing and I get a little distracted. The images are unreal. Stay tuned for part 2. I can't wait to show you. But this was Advent Gift, we'll say 20. Stay tuned for 21 and 22.